Do you like my cheap little €20 glasses that I had to buy because I left my good glasses on the plane? Oh my God. But they have found them, so I'll get them back. Yay. So Q&A Sunday, because it's Sunday, and I went, I don't think I did this last Sunday. Oh God, it's just been a bit... When you travel, you get a bit out of whack with who you are, where you are, what day it is, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that is not an excuse. This week I have legitimately been asked a couple of questions by people regarding toxicity. And no, we're not talking about toxic shock syndrome, which at a school camp I swore I had. I thought I was going to die. I went to a teacher. It wasn't. It was just period pain. Damn that. So we're talking about all these memes and things that are going around at the moment about, just leaving the toxic behind in 2019 and going into 2020 with all of that stuff removed. And I think that is... So I've been asked, how do you do that? Like, legitimately, Sam, what are the steps to actually do that? I think the problem with that is sometimes you actually can't. Like, it's enough to say... Now, I'm not talking about... So please don't send me a message saying, Sam, you didn't talk about this. I'm not talking about situations like domestic violence or abuse or any of those things where get the F out as quickly as possible in whatever way, shape or form. And I'm not a specialist that has dealt in any of that kind of stuff, but there is so much help and support out there for that kind of thing. I'm talking about situations like a work environment where there's a bit too much gossiping or negativity, or you're not getting paid well enough, or you're getting bullied a little bit. I'm talking about friendships where maybe you pay for everything all the time, or people are, again, negative or don't support your dreams or your views, or you might be gay and in the closet and everyone you surround yourself with is really homophobic. I'm talking about those kind of toxic situations where you do have a bit more control, and it's not anything illegal or completely dysfunctional. That's the stuff we're talking about. So you see a meme and it says, this is me waving goodbye to toxic people and everything in 2019, and I'm marching into 2020 with no toxic in my life at all. Now, a lot of the time, that can't happen. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Say you're in a work environment where you feel a little toxic, but you might have bills to pay, school fees to pay. You might not have any other options at the moment. You might be studying and they're helping support you study. So it's just an oversimplification for people to say, well, just leave and move on with it. Go do something different. Sometimes you can't, and sometimes you don't have the strength to do that, and sometimes you're doing bits and pieces behind the scenes to set you up so you can do that in the future, but right now it's not going to happen. So you need to do... No, I'm going to go that B word. It's all about boundaries again. But again, this is not the kind of thing where you need to walk into the workplace and go, and sometimes you can't walk in and go, I'm not putting up with da-da-da-da-da-da. Sometimes you can. And sometimes you can go in and go, you know what? In 2020, these are my working hours and I'm not working outside of those hours. So if you come to me 5 minutes before I'm meant to leave, sorry, it's not going to get done. And in some workplaces, you do have the flexibility and the ability to do that. So I would suggest doing that, like go for it. In terms of toxic friendships, those memes going, get rid of the toxic people in your life. You don't need them. Sometimes it's your mother. Now, I shouldn't have said that because mine's dead. My mother wasn't toxic, so preface that. She had her issues, but no, she definitely wouldn't call her toxic. Sometimes, again, they're people really close in your life, and you can't just shut the door on their face. And nor can you walk up to these people and go, I'm so sorry, but you're really toxic, so you just need to get out of my life. No, don't do shit like that. That's unnecessary, and can be hurtful, and you think maybe it'll slap them in the face and they'll look at themselves, but most of the time it doesn't, and it will just cause an even yuckier situation. So see them less. Start saying no more often. Say you have trying to think of an example of someone who might not be someone close to me who's going to watch this video and think I was talking about them. Say you have a toxic daughter. There you go, Elodie. She's going, what? You can't just shut them out. But It's about saying no. Say that toxic person in your life invites you to something. Say no. No explanation. You can even say thank you for the invitation, but no. Or, and someone in a situation, if they're gossiping, this is a big one. Gossiping and negativity and judgment, when you've got those kind of people in your life, it's a lot easier. Instead of saying, guys, like, stop that behavior or I'm not coming here again, you can say that, absolutely. And it takes a lot of strength to say that. And sometimes people need to hear that. And then that's about setting up a boundary. So you say, okay, I don't think us having this conversation is beneficial. I find it uneasy, unnecessary. Next time you start talking about this, I'm going to leave. Now, you've set that boundary, absolutely then. So the next time they do that, that is up to you 100%, because you can't control their behaviour. It's up to you 100%. The minute they start gossiping or acting in judgment or being narky about someone or something, and that goes against what you just said, you have to stand up. I said this would happen, and leave. End of story. No more discussion needed. That's about you setting up that boundary. It's like in customer service. If you get sworn at in a phone call in a customer service situation, for example, I remember years ago being taught this, back a gazillion years ago when I worked at Optus. You don't need to put up with someone swearing or being mean to you on the phone. You can say, excuse me, sir, I won't tolerate being sworn at. The next time you swear at me, I'll terminate this call. Next time they swear, you don't need to say anything. Terminate the call. It's the same in friendship. It's the same with boundaries. If they're doing things that you're deeming toxic or are toxic to you, because to them they might not be. To them, that might be a completely normal behavior. They may feel great about what they're doing, how they're acting, and things they're saying. And it's not up to you to change what they're doing. It's up to you to go, this is unacceptable to me, and to either leave or not put yourself in that situation. So for those of you that are looking at all this stuff going around saying, leave this behind in 1919, oh my God, suddenly we're 100, 2019 and move into 2020 without all that negativity, don't feel bad if you think you can't just do that. Sometimes it's the itty bitty steps that are the best ones to actually take. So remember, just say no to actually going into the situation to start with. If it's in a workplace, try and set up some better boundaries about hours, behaviours, that kind of thing. And if it's about friends and people you know who are doing things that you deem toxic, remember, it's not about changing them. It's about you going, this is unacceptable to me, and leaving. And sometimes, or shutting down the conversation. And sometimes you don't even need to tell them. You just need to act, okay? Take that power. So that's, I guess, my message to you about how to get rid of toxicity in your life in 2020 is about you owning the power to actually do that. So just say no, shut it down, walk away. It's as simple. It's not simple. It is simple. It's not easy. There you go. It's simple, but it's not easy to actually do that. So next time Cousin June is having a bitch about Auntie Mary, I shouldn't say Mary because I'm Mary in my family. Auntie, what's her name that's not in my family?
Janice.
Auntie who?
Janice.
Auntie Janice. There you go. Don't have an Auntie Janice. We're watching Friends at the moment. Bitching about Auntie Janice. Shut it down. Leave. Don't tolerate it. Simple as that, okay? So, mwah. Here's to the last couple of days of 2019. How exciting. Have a great day, guys. Bye.